If you like watching off-spawn fights, boy oh boy do we got a lot to watch in the finals on Saturday. We're finally going to get to see a Peterbot versus Pollo in the Divisional Cup finals and a Mr. Savage versus Ferdoxy as well. We have a ton to go over in today's video, including who I think is going to win, who was able to qualify, and so much more. We're close to the stars though. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we're trying to hit 110,000 subscribers on it, and we're so close to that mark as well. If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code Kdog in the Fortnite item shop. Sub up to my React channel as well. It should be linked in the description down below, because we're trying to hit 10K on that channel too. Follow the Twitch also, that's linked down there, because we're hopefully going to be streaming the finals this Saturday. So if you guys want to watch the finals with me in these insane off spawn fights, make sure you guys just go drop a follow. Without further ado though, like I said, we got a lot to go over. Let's get straight into it. Both of these finals on NA and EU are about to be absolute stackers. Let's talk about the people that were able to win on NA though, like first place of Clix, Iamzo, and Higgs. They finished with 934 points, won 2 out of their 17 matches, and got 227 elims as well. These guys continue to show why they are most likely the favorites going into FNCS now, especially if the off-spawn drama between Peterbot and Pollo continue for the rest of the season. I see no reason why this team can't win both Cash Cups and FNCS as well. These guys are also still getting an uncontested Supernova Academy in the finals, so they have the best drop spot, are arguably the second or first best team on the region. These guys are just set up so well now going forwards. Second place was Joji, Donnie, and Osid on 930. Third place was the brand new trio that literally just formed a couple of days ago of Mush, Shadow, and Sphinx on 908. They only played 16 total matches, but were able to win 5 of them and get 187 total elims. Fourth place is also another brand new trio of Booga, Threats, and Craze on the exact same amount of points as them of 908 as well. So it looks like a lot of the brand new trios from that huge snake inning that we had is going super well for a lot of different teams. Fifth place was Aiden, sixth place was Aoxy, seventh place another brand new trio of Rapid, Kanata, and Bolt. I don't think Kanata and Bolt's problems were ever qualifying out of opens. It's more of just what they actually do in a set lobby finals. I can't even remember the last time I saw Kanata or Bolt's top 5 in a Cash Cup finals, so they have a lot to prove this weekend. 8th place was Golden Void and Ozone. 9th place was our LAN qualifiers of Visuals, Braids, and Diminish. And then rounding out the top 10 is another team that is trying to make LAN of Aviv, Skittles, and Bryce. Speaking of players that are trying to qualify for LAN, in 11th place we have Rise's brand new trio of G Money and Virgo on 726. So these guys are also able to qualify for the finals as well. 12th place after a pretty rough day 1. I'm pretty sure they're around that 80th place range after day 1, coming off of yesterday where Peterbot didn't even play in the Eval Cup. In 12th place, we have the trio of Ritual, Cold, and Peterbot. They were able to finish with 723 total points, win 2 out of their 18 matches, and get 211 elims as well. And they still were just absolutely W-king every single trio they ran into. Their fights just went a lot more of their way today, and they are securing their spot in the finals to contest Pollo, Acorn, and Agers at the Battle of Demons Domain once again. And believe it or not, this is only going to be the second ever set lobby finals where these two guys are going to be fighting there. 16th place, we have another LAN qualified team of Reed, Cooper, and Curly. Bucky, Okus, and Mason finished in 19th. Seti, Ari, and Cammy, the EU trio that always finds their way in NA finals, in 25th. And that was honestly about it for all of the big names that were able to qualify. I think the main people that were not able to qual is like 46th place of Viola, Npen, and Zen. We also had like Edgy, Chance, and Causer in 67th place. And the only reason why I'm really mentioning them is because this could be a very good sign for King's trio, because King's trio finished in 2nd place in Div 2, so they are officially Div 1 players on NA and will be able to play the last Div Cup of the season next week on NA Central. If you're wondering how Miro did in Div 3, he was able to win Div 3 completely. He will also now be moving on to Div 2 next week, and he's gonna have to have a very similar thing happen to him that King just pulled off right now to make it to Div 1 by the time FNCS starts on Central. Now for my actual predictions, I think this week on NA is so wide open. Of course, we have the Peterbot versus Pollo off spawn fight, so it's arguably 2 of the top 3 teams on the entire region going head to head. If I actually had to predict how I think that off spawn fight is probably going to go, I think these teams are honestly dead even off spawn right now, and I am going to predict them to go 3-3 off spawn. I'm not going to predict either of these guys to finish inside of my top 5. I think it is just nearly impossible to predict any team that is fighting another one off spawn to finish inside of your top 5, even though in every single game that Peterbot has won off spawn, they have went on to look so dominant dominant after that. But I have a lot of brand new trios in my top 5. Starting off with, in my 5th place spot, I have the trio of Booga, Threats, and Craze. These guys are still getting an Uncon Utopia City. They're a trio that is fighting for a land spot, and if we're just being real, if you've watched any of these scrim sessions, they haven't necessarily looked the craziest. No pun intended, of course, but I still think that they do have the team potential in general to finish inside of the top 5. And I think especially in a week like this where Peterbot and Pollo are conning each other, if these guys are not able to pull off a top 5 while being completely uncontested, then there might be some real question marks about this team's future going forwards. My 4th place spot is another brand new trio. This is probably my biggest hot take for my predictions this week. I have the trio of Muzz, Shadow, and Sphinx. I have honestly really liked what I have seen out of this team, and not just the Eval Cup, but also in this divisional cup as well. I think these guys have shown a lot of promise on what kind of trio they can be going forwards, and I think this is 100% a trio that is going to make a real push for being one of the 2 teams to qualify for LAN. Let's get into my top 3 now, and I believed in these guys so much when they were originally a trio a couple of seasons ago, and I'm gonna keep that streak going, even though it might not be the smartest decision. In 3rd place, I'm gonna go with Kanata, Bolts, and Rapid. This team should literally be made for cash cups. All 3 very good fighting players, a trio that knows how to play high ground, a trio that has win potential, high fragging potential, and they also should be uncontested as well. But if these guys are uncon, they are 100% a top 3 threat. And then my 2 teams in my 1 and 2 spot have both already qualified for LAN. In 2nd place, I'm gonna go with the trio of Reek, Cooper, and Curly. These guys necessarily haven't looked too insane so far in this meta, but I think they do have all of the tools and the recipe for success to be one of the best teams in the world still. They literally won the last cash cup of the Star Wars season together, and I think they can 100% either finish 2nd or even win the first tournament of the season. But my team that I'm gonna go with in 1st place, I think it is kind of silly if you put anybody else besides the team of Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs here. They're getting the best POI on the map, completely uncontested. They're a top 3 trio on the region, and they are just such a passionate cash cup team as well. That is why I am predicting Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs to win the first FNCS Divisional Cup of this season. Let's actually move on to how EU went now. Now in EU, this finals is about to be absolutely stacked. We have arguably the best of the best trios, the biggest name players, huge teams contesting each other for the first hit lobby of the season. This is going to be absolute cinema on EU. The trio that was able to finish in 1st place, though, honestly kind of surprising to me, was Comeback, Blaha, and their underrated up-and-coming GOAT of Shark. They finished with 847 points, won 2 out of their 15 matches, and finished with 138 total elims. Something that really impressed me with this team, though, is that in 18 total matches, their average placement in those games was a 6.8. When you have a player who is as skilled and as good of a fighter as Shark, I feel like this is just even more impressive because you're going to want to be more aggressive when you know you have that caliber of player on your team. And these guys were still almost able to get an average of 10 elims a game while being far and away the most consistent team in this entire tournament. As I have been saying for a lot of my discourse about Shark, Comeback, and Blaha, I feel like they are always very solid opens players, especially in the divisional cups. It's just whether or not they are going to be able to perform to their max level in the finals, and I'm very excited to see what they can actually do then. 2nd place was our EU FNCS champions of Venya, Pixie, and Marius. They finished on 844 points, won 3 out of their 19 matches, and got the most elims in this entire tournament with 180. There was a little bit of drama with these guys in Mr. Savage's community because Mr. Savage's community thought that they were Q sniping them so that Mr. Savage wouldn't be able to qualify for finals. To me, that doesn't really make 100% sense, and I watched a lot of the footage back and it didn't look like there was any like deliberate Q sniping or nothing like that. There was definitely some suspicious moments. I don't really see a reason why Vanya, Pixie, and Marius wouldn't want Savage to qualify for a finals. And I especially just don't think that they would risk the potential of getting banned for stream sniping, because if you stream snipe the biggest streamers, you know their community is not going to be happy with you. So I don't think Vanya, Pixie, and Marius would risk that just so Mr. Savage doesn't qualify for a Div Cup finals. 3rd place is the trio who has a lot to prove this season of Vico, Vino, and Flixie. A lot of people felt as if they were underwhelming last season. This season they do currently have a fully uncontested brutal boxcars, so they have their drop spot locked down. Their strategy is always, if they can make it into endgame, they believe that they can compete with anybody on the region. They're able to get the 2nd most elims in opens, and I am very excited to see these guys prove some people wrong. 4th place was another trio that honestly honestly has probably even more to prove than Vico, Vino, and Flixie of Wheaton, Frizzy, and Lucia. Now, if you guys watched any of the Star Wars season, you guys know that this team was probably either the first or the second best team in that season, but the whole narrative around them is that they are just carried by the forecast tower in the Star Wars season, and that was the only reason why they were placing as well as they did. And I think that definitely is a fair assumption for that trio. But now going into this season, no forecast tower, pure skill. What will they be able to pull off? 5th place was Ghost, Hyper, and Fyron on 756. 6th place was Rax, Yanis, and Kiddo on 743. 7th place was Vadil, Cringe, and Volko on 726. 8th place was Trulex, Tini, and Skavi. 9th was Dinas, and then rounding out the top 10 was Contrary, Perdage, and Finnick. This finals, though, like I said earlier, was straight stacked with big names. Some other big name trios that were able to qualify is 11th place, just one spot out of that top 10, of Mongrel and his new trio of Kaido and Haijo. Now, I talked about these guys a lot after day 1 of the opens, but I have just absolutely loved what these guys have been showing ever since they formed together. It seems like Mongrel is more locked in with this trio than honestly he was when he was playing with Savage and Panzer. He's playing the game a lot more. He's doing bot review sessions with their coach of Fox. They're playing scrims together, everything like that. And in the first divisional cup of the season, they were able to finish with 707 points, win 1 out of their 19 matches, and get 93 elims as well. Now, unfortunately for Mongrel, when we go over the drop map later, he is most likely going to be contested in the finals. He's kind of just stuck where a lot of like the tier 2 and 3 players are currently stuck in, where they're able to make set lobby finals consistently, but they're never really going to be a good enough trio to alpha up a completely uncontested POI. And especially now that he's trying to go a very decent POI of pump power instead of a split drop, it is just going to be even more difficult. Just 2 spots right under them is the trio of Chap, Mr. Savage, and Rezon. They finished with 696 points today. They did need a pretty solid day 2 to make sure that they were able to secure their spot in the finals, and that is exactly what they did. Finished the tournament with 116 elims as well. And also, speaking of the drop map, when we go over it later, they are going to be officially in their first set lobby final 3v3 versus Pablo, Chino, and Ferdoxy. I'm going to save my thoughts about that for later on in this video. Let's keep it moving with the leaderboard. We had like Moneymaker in 15th, Pink Nebs and Kiro in 16th, Dexy Eclipse and Twy in 17th, Pingwalks and Malibuka in 20th, Kamiseti Hari in 21st. Like I talked about earlier, in 23rd place of Ferdoxy, Pablo, and Chino, Chris Tayson and Chicho in 26th, Focus in 27th, and that is about it for all of the big names that were able to qualify. A lot of big names, as you can clearly see. Unfortunately though, like every Div Cup, not everybody is going to be able to qualify for the finals. Like starting off with, in 35th place, we have the trio of Sky, Scroll, and Thomas HD. Now Thomas HD ended up tweeting out 1 point off, and he tweeted that they finished in 35th place, finishing with 648 points, and 648 points is the exact same amount of points that he was on when he was just 1 point off of winning FNCS. So Thomas might have the 2nd place curse, the 1 point curse, and the 648 point curse all at the exact same time. No, I don't think this trio is going to split over this placement. It's definitely very unfortunate that they weren't able to qualify for the first Div Cup of the season as a brand new trio, especially. But like I just completely went over, they were literally 1 point off of being able to make it. So I don't think this trio should split over that. We also unfortunately had like Queasy, Eyedrop, and Merstash in 40th. I know I've said this every time I've gone over them, but it really does just suck that we're not going to get to see the Queasy, Swizzy, and Merstash trio until FNCS actually starts, because it is just going to be so hard to actually project how good they are going to do, not only in this FNCS, but also come Global's time as well, because this is 100% one of the biggest wildcard teams in the entire world right now. Another trio that has just been looking very rough so far this season is 44th place of Pix, Darm, and Demas. Now this trio has only been able to qualify for 1 set lobby finals this entire season, which was the Eval Cup, where they were able to get a win and win 4 all off spawn versus Thomas HD's trio. But other than that, this team has now missed the only Div Cup of the season and 2 other Eval Cups as well. So they are currently 1 for 4 on tournament quals this season. I said this in my Eval Cup video yesterday. This trio is always just going to be such a boom or bust trio to me, because they're all very young, inexperienced players. And even though they have had absolutely insane placements in grand finals that they have played, they've only made 2 grand finals ever. So we can't expect like an absolute consistency masterclass in qualifying for every single tournament out of players that are still relatively new to the top of the scene. And then finally we had like Noah Riley, Ju, and Trexer finish in 58th place, also not being able to pull off the qual. Let's move on to my top 5 predictions predictions now. My first EU predictions of the season. In 5th place, I know I should be banned from predicting these guys, but I have to do it. They're completely uncontested. They've been grinding. Cammy is now the one tarping instead of Seti, and I think Cammy is also the IGL of this trio as well. So of course that means I gotta go with the trio of Cammy, Seti, and Hari. 4th place, I'm gonna go with one of my favorite teams from last season. I believe in them to be able to carry over the success to this season of Twy, Dexy, and Eclipse. Now I gotta say this every single time. Twy and Eclipse are actually blood brothers. They're literally making like a whole content series around them playing tournaments together as well. It's super cool, and I really am rooting for these guys to be able to do the best. And then for my top 3 is just what I feel like are the 3 best uncontested trios in this lobby. 3rd place, I'm gonna go with Pink Nebs and Kiro. They still are completely uncontested. They had absolutely insane placements in last season's Div Cups. Not the Star Wars season, but the season before that. I think they are a super good Cash Cup team, and I think they 100% can pull off a top 3. And then my 2 trios and my 2 and 1 spots are just the teams that I think are in the best positions and are also probably the best trios in this lobby. 2nd place, I'm gonna go with the defending FNCS champions of Venya, Pixie, and Marius. Now they have a couple of fights to pick between under them if they want to go third party some people, either at Lone Wolf Lair or the Supernova Academy. If you look at it, the Supernova Academy is actually currently triple contested by not only Ferdoxy and Mr. Savage, but also currently, as I'm recording this video, of Alba, Kincall, and Nyx as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Alba's trio ended up leaving. I don't really think they want to get themselves involved with that off-spawn drama when there's so many other uncontested teams that they can go contest. But my trio in 1st place is a team that if you look around them, oh my goodness, they have absolute free pickings literally wherever they want. I'm gonna go with the trio of Vino, Vico, and Flixie to win the first EU Cash Cup of the season. Look at the map around them. They have Margo, Haido, and Kaijo contested by Perdage at Pump Power. To their top right, they have a team contesting them. On their left they do, under them on each side they do. These guys can fight trios like there's no tomorrow, and you know that they 100% have the skill to do that as well, and that is why I am confidently picking them for 1st place in the first EU Cash Cup of the season. Another trio that I honestly do still think has a lot of potential even though they are contested is Malibuka, Ping, and Wox. They are conned by a team currently, but I also wouldn't be surprised if this team does end up leaving, and I also wouldn't be surprised too if Malibuka just absolutely wipes them off spawn. This is gonna be such a hype Div Cup finals though. Other than that though, remember, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we try our best to upload daily competitive content for you guys. Make sure you guys check out the Reacts channel, link in the description down below, as we're trying to hit 10K on that channel as well. I am so hyped for the Div Cup on Saturday. Make sure you guys just turn on notifications so you don't miss my video recapping that as well. Please just go Kdog in the Fortnite item shop if you guys want to support me even more. YouTube says to enjoy one of these 2 videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Follow me on my Twitter and my Twitch, link in the description down below if you guys want to watch any of these tournaments with me. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.